This is To Wit, a podcast for women in tech doing life. I'm Melinda Smith.
And I'm Christy Guzman. Hi, Melinda.
Hi, Christy.
How are you?
Welcome to another week. I'm awesome. How are you?
I am lovely.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. It's my birthday recently, so I can't complain about anything.
Well, or you could if you feel like you're getting old, but I don't think you are.
Yeah, I don't know. The age keeps changing, like going up, but I don't feel like I changed. I don't feel any differently. I feel like I'm still like about 22, 21 in my head.
Yeah, still having fun, but now just a little more adulting sometimes.
Yes, and I go to bed much earlier.
That's the key difference. So, speaking of being young, I was thinking about our question for the day. And I'm interested to know about your first car that was like your car.
Oh, my baby. So, I had a car that I wanted, and I have the car that I got, which I'm sure a lot of people, it's not the same thing. I wanted a cabriolet. So this puts me, I guess it's about 94-ish, and I wanted one so badly. I wanted a red cabriolet, and there was one at the end of the block for sale.
Of course.
But my stepdad bought me a Jetta. So, I mean, it was like, hey, thanks. So you're not going to complain about your free car. It's like, that is kind of what I wanted.
Was it red?
No, it was gray. But it was a little four-seater, and it had a crank sunroof. So we would like crank it open. But I loved that thing. I would spend hours washing it and putting Rain-X on the windshield. Do you remember Rain-X?
Yeah, back when you had time.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. I loved it. I drove that car until it burned up on some road. I don't know. Something burned, needed some kind of fluid that I didn't provide. Whatever.
Cars, you know.
Just cars needing things and stuff. What was yours?
I bought a blue Geo Prism from my dad's friend with babysitting money.
Get out.
And my dad had this great policy of if I would put my babysitting money in savings, he would match it. So I had a decent, I mean, to be fair, this was like $1,500. It wasn't, anything ridiculous, but we called it the Geota because basically it's a Toyota Corolla, except it was the Geo Prism, but it had some like Toyota parts on it anyway. So, it was the Geota, and then it might still be around somewhere. I don't know. It was a wonderful little car, and it had a trailer hitch on it. Not sure what you would haul with a tiny little Geo Prism, but everyone used to clock their shins on it.
And a four-wheeler?
And then I once reached back to try and close the back door and broke the handle off. So whoever sat there and didn't know was stuck because they couldn't get out by themselves. So I used to trick my sister into sitting there, the good
stuck
times.
In the car.
Yeah.
God, I have so many good memories in that car. And I was always the responsible driver. I always opted to drive because I wanted to make sure I got home, and I had a good, healthy fear of my stepfather back in the day. So I was always shuttling people around. I was super responsible in high school.
I just remember that we all got our licenses around that time when you couldn't drive with any other unlicensed driver in the car under the age of blah, 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 until blah, 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 whatever. So, like, everywhere we went, we all had to drive our own cars, which was so inefficient. Mm-hmm. But, like, there was, like, a parade of, like, 6 cars everywhere we would go because no one could drive anyone else. So
you couldn't have anyone in the car. And then were we getting our permits when you couldn't drive at night? Or was that just a parent thing?
And I 100% followed all those rules if you're my mom and dad and listening. I never took people in my car to Jack in the Box.
Never. I never took far more people than seats allowed in my car either.
Of course not.
But I look at 16-year-olds now and I'm like, what? Who gave me a license at 16? I mean, I was a kid. I mean, wow, it's a little bonkers, but it's probably a little bit more like the parents are super tired of driving them around, and they're like, they look good, they're fine.
Well, to be fair, I did get some speeding tickets, and I went to level 2 traffic school,
Oh,
which is 2 full 8-hour days of learning. And also, I learned the hard way, not a good place to find someone to go on a date with. So
mm.
there's some life advice from one Christy Guzman around age 17 or so.
Oh my gosh, I loved my new car. It was new to me then. Gosh, what was it? 82? No, 86. 1980. It was in 80s, which
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
that old in 94. It was only 10 years old.
It was new to you, I see.
Yeah.
I have no great segue into your topic.
No, I got nothing. I was looking at that too. I think a good pregnant pause is something that really engages the listeners. I hope that
We're,
they're doing something like looking in their car, like, did I lose it? Did it drop?
I mean, to be fair, we're prepared in that we have an outline, but not necessarily a segue.
Then I'm just gonna bull in a china closet, just roll right into it. And now, next segment on to wit, we're gonna talk about shine theory. So I have mentioned on nearly every episode how much I love Call Your Girlfriend. It's my favorite podcast. And Anne Friedman, who is still a writer, but was a writer before the podcast, kind of coined the phrase shine theory, which is basically the theory that your success doesn't lessen my success. Or Sophia Amoruso also said once, don't compare your middle hustle to someone else's highlight reel. So Anne Friedman had said, and I'll quote her here, when you meet a woman who is intimidatingly witty, stylish, beautiful, and professionally accomplished, befriend her. Surrounding yourself with the best people doesn't make you look worse. By comparison, it makes you better. So no one's accomplishments lessen yours. And if you shine, then I shine. And the more you accomplish, the prouder I am of you, and the more I accomplish in that sense. And us all as women holding each other up and stop comparing ourselves and instead lift each other up. So I have talked about this in my WIT groups before. I have posted about it, tweeted about it. There's some cute little pictures, something to the effect of her success isn't my failure and something like that. But I think as women, it's a good reminder. We have our core group that we always lift each other up and we're always happy to hear about each other's successes, but it's not always easy in like a work situation. And the one comparison I had was a couple companies ago. It was right before the kiddo, so I'm trying to like make my name and climb up the corporate ladder. And I wanted to work myself out of customer service. And another woman was hired,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like she was moving faster than I was. And I felt this kind of rift in my gut about it. And I actually really liked her. So I had to kind of have a little sit down, a little tete-a-tete with myself. And I was like, what is your problem? Because what she was excelling in, I didn't even do. Like we weren't even on the same path. It wasn't like she was somehow excelling past me. She was excelling in her path. So I made a point to befriend her, go out to lunch with her. And, actually we became very good friends. And, kind of the moral of the story is, oh, thank goodness I had the talk with myself because it had nothing to do with me. And I was kind of disappointed in myself that I saw it that way at first. Because again, our paths were completely different, and her excelling in her path didn't mean that I wasn't getting where I wanted to go.
Well,
But it
and
would do that.
I think in general, you know, I'm sure you've read about women apply for job descriptions where they think they meet, 90% of the requirements, whereas men only need 60% of the requirements, and certain ways that we self deprecate. And I know that I
Right.
certainly do. Um, Different, and I do think it is in a different way than men. I don't think that that's, of course, always holds true. And I certainly think that there's, men that maybe you feel similarly toward, like that it doesn't have to be that we're going to be successful women together, like against someone else. It's just the general idea. And I think it's harder for women,
Hmm.
to be supportive and to see someone else succeeding and looking awesome without thinking even subconsciously of a way to kind of undercut that.
Yeah,
But
I think it's more socially acceptable for guys to just be more competitive, and it's just like, hey, I'm gonna try and trip you up, but then we're gonna have a beer later. But for some reason, we're socially conditioned to pretend to be nice or pretend to like each other and then be really catty. And I think we just need to change the script for future generations and for ourselves. There's no need to set up women in that sense. Like people make that joke, oh, catty women. It doesn't have to be like that. And we don't have to be catty. We don't have to be best friends, but there's no reason to automatically think that we need to be catty about it either. You can still be successful and driven and kind to another person.
mm-hmm.
There's enough seats at the table, basically. It's not like there's a seat at what corporate ladder that you're climbing. Like there's just one spot. And if there is, then like maybe that's not the right place to be anyways. I just can't, I don't think I have it in me to step on someone. I'm sure I've hurt somebody in the past or sidestepped someone, but I am still, as much as I want to say, I don't care what people think, I super care what people think. And I have to work with those people 8 hours a day. I don't want them to not like me. I mean, I'm not saying I have to be like the highlight of the room, but like, I don't want those people to not like me. I spend time with them. It
Well,
matters.
but I don't think that has to be one way or the other. People can still like you and you can still be getting it done for
No,
you.
exactly. But I'm just saying, I don't think I could climb over people, like
Mm.
step on people and then just be like, screw you. I got my own thing going on. I don't know how. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of a culture thing that women tend to not, I don't know, not want to see each other succeed almost.
Well, that's interesting because I wanted to talk about something I did recently and kind of it helped me have a revelation about what we've talked about within the community, but I was invited to do the partner power hour and I spoke about admins in the community and tips for partners to connect with the community because I think people look at, we are a partner and we provide this service, and so we talk about this service. And I try to talk about being an asset or a resource to your local community. Maybe after a release, you present about the release to your user group, or having people not from sales attending and how that can having those conversations can help so that your company is top of mind when someone does need you for whatever service you provide. And what kind of struck me about that is back in Boston earlier this year, I was with Chris Zolo from here in North Carolina, and we happened to both be up there, and he was like, you need to meet Amanda Nelson. She's awesome. And we met, we had talked on Twitter, etc. We went to lunch. And at the time, maybe I wasn't supposed to go to lunch, right? Maybe I quote, should have been at the booth or I should have been in a session.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to lunch and she's lovely and we had a great time. And from that, I've had so many opportunities in terms of being a speaker at Dreamforce, being a part of an ebook that her team put together, and now doing this power hour. So a lot of, and co-hosting a demo jam. So a lot of
Nice.
cool opportunities that in the end also were probably an asset to my company, but awesome things that I was able to do, not just because of her per se, but how I feel like I hope that people hear that and remember how valuable those moments and those conversations can be. Because I think at times with user groups, with community events, with Dreamforce, there's so many opportunities to do the quote unquote right thing or be, have a takeaway that you can come back to your boss with. But sometimes the conversation in the hallway might be your biggest takeaway for the day. And sometimes a comment that you make about wanting to potentially do something at Dreamforce for women in tech gets you a sponsor and ties you together, and now you and I are doing a podcast. So that is nothing that I could have done on purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that to me is kind of what struck me about just the authentic connection that, now when people are interested in looking for jobs, they're comfortable telling me that. And when there's people who want to help with Southeast Dreamin' or want to attend and are promoting it for me, and just all these great things that just happen because of those connections.
Do you feel, and clearly I'm setting this up so I can talk about me, do you feel that you allot enough or too much time to activities that aren't business related or billable hours, like community, things that further your love, but maybe aren't on your 40-hour work week?
I am trying to maintain that balance. I think I'm in the fortunate position that I'm at a company that supports those kind of things in a balance of my day-to-day life. I've been struggling to, during the day, maintain that balance and those priorities and participate in the community and Twitter and those things as much as I'd like.
I agree. I feel like maybe I've been doing a little too much lately. It's different now because now that I have this like billable hour situation where I write down on a paper, like, these are the hours that you were focused, is very different when I multitask 14 different things, build a field, answer a community question. I don't do that. I stay focused because I'm working on a project kind of thing. But I was looking around on Sunday, and granted, it was like birthday weekend and running around and this, that, and the other. But I was like, I haven't balanced my checkbook in like 2 weeks. I was like, when was the last time I did laundry? I was like, what am I doing? Where is my time going? If I don't have my house in order, I feel like I'm not billing enough hours. And I was like, am I spending too much time on outside stuff? Like Friday, I hustled for a lot of hours and they weren't billable because we're planning the WIT conference, the Witness Success Conference. So, as you know, that takes time and contract negotiations. And I'm very excited to be a part of it. But for me, I'm having this like little guilt factor of that's not billable hour. It's not a billable hour. But my team loves that I'm part of the community. They talk about it all the time that I'm a women in tech leader, but I still haven't found the balance yet. I've never done this like totally remote. I was telling someone today that it's different when I've worked remote before because usually I've had a team, I've built a rapport, they think I'm amazing, and then I go work from home. Or I work from home only one day. Now I'm kind of out here. So I'm like trying to get the temperature of the room. Like am I going to be brave and ask the question that I think might be a dumb question? And then I'm not sure how that's received. It's kind of hard. So then I'm like, okay, if I can't get the temperature of the room, I'll just make sure that I'm really good on my billable hours. So then if I am not doing something that's billable, I'm concerned that I'm not pulling my weight. So I'm trying to find the balance, but we've got, I'm always jumping in for any Apex in the admins video, and I'm trying to help out Kishore in India do a Salesforce Saturday, which it would be a Salesforce Friday for me, and some blog questions. And I'm like, I think you and I talked like our first podcast. It was like the power of no, I cannot overcommit. And then somewhere I was just like, yes, yes, yes. I just say yes to all the things.
Well, I think it's interesting.
Important to me.
I think it's interesting how that kind of ties into a little bit of what you're talking about with Shine Theory of celebrating the successes of others. And somebody told me recently, possibly a therapist, I'm not going to
Ah,
comment one way or the other, um, you are definitely not the only one that thinks you're letting all the plates fall, right?
hmm,
Like, you may look at someone that you think has it all together, that look up to hypothetically, that probably doesn't have it all together, right? So, or in that moment has that one thing together.
right.
So, I think that's a very realistic struggle. And I think it's never, and you have the added mom factor that I don't even have, except for dogs. And I still don't feel like I have the right balance of marriage, partner, plus house clean, plus laundry, plus work, plus community, plus friends, and
And I'm
life.
telling you, social media requires attention. I'm trying this new thing where I attend like in the morning and then check like once in the day and come back because it was like last week. I was like, what have I done for the last 2 hours? I sure didn't balance my checkbook. I haven't left this chair. What have I done?
I love that you sound like for me, balancing your checkbook sounds like so 80s.
I
Uh,
am a neurotic about it. So I have an app I use,
mm,
and
that's more
I
high
compare
tech.
it. Yeah, well, at least there's that. I compare it to the website, but I have so many things that are like auto and hold and pay this for later and hold this for later that I have to know where it is. So I keep all my receipts, and we've been, in Arizona and playing and hanging out. So I have 2 weeks of receipts, and now it's to the point where I was like, I just have too many. Can I just start over? But
So,
ah,
fun fact, I'm gonna super fave it up right now.
oh,
What? Mind blown.
wow.
The YNAB app, You Need a Budget,
I
uh,
do. I need a life
is
advisor.
is an app
YNALA.
YNAB that we are using. I won't say that we are consistently using it wonderfully, but we are hypothetically using, and it gives you the ability to track spending, which I'm good at that part. Actually allocating into the quote unquote envelope chunks, not so much. But the reason that I wanted to just jump in and commit my love to it is because it has the concept of a fresh start. So all the work you've
Is that
done,
where we get a new social security number?
all the all the work that you've done with your categories and goals for those categories, etc., will stay, but it will not. You don't have to reconcile the past 2 weeks or 2 months worth of
Yeah.
expenses, and
Hmm.
you can kind of start over temporarily and get a
I
fresh
might want
start
to do that.
and stop
Yeah, I can write a
guilt
budget
tripping
like a mad
yourself.
person. I just don't
It
stick
is
to.
kind of funny to think of the different strengths. Like, I'm much better at, as soon as I've gotten the habit that as soon as I pay for something, I'm tracking it. Even now when we're together, my husband just hands me the receipt because I'm the better tracker. But hypothetically, I need to reconcile before he can allocate. So then it kind of puts it on me. And then if it doesn't happen, then, teamwork makes the dream work. And then
So true.
teamwork makes it all fall apart sometimes too. So so that plate fell for a while and it's getting back on the thing. But I don't, I think it's important to remember the message of your, to give yourself credit for the things that you are doing. And even, what Amy was talking about in terms of imposter syndrome, like the imposter of your own life, and just the fact that sometimes the fact that you made dinner counts.
Yeah, right?
I used to like try and do like two things a day when I got home from work. And that sounds so minuscule, but really it was like, don't just sit down and watch TV, do a load of laundry and something else. And somebody said to me once, like, well, you made dinner, that's a thing. And I was like, oh, like I wasn't even counting that as a thing. And,
Right.
if that's a habit you're trying to make and you're trying to eat out less, then that's a thing. And then you get to, maybe tonight, that was the compromise. I did not make dinner because I was running later than I planned, and yet I agreed to go through this bin of mail that I've been hiding important
Oh,
documents in to go through later.
oh, I hate
And
meal. I have a
right?
pile as well.
In
I have a
college, it
shredding
was the
pile and
best
oh yeah,
to
mail
get
used to be
mail.
amazing. Now I'm like, ugh. I feel like this, especially with like the coupons and stuff. I feel like the mailman just hands me this. Like, can you just throw this away for me? Sure. You put it in that little box. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it away for you. Not a
I mean,
problem.
hypothetically, I'm going to guilt trip myself that I'm not better with couponing, and then I'm going to throw them away.
No, I just throw them away. I just can't even deal. Just straight to the trash. But I also did a scary yet grown up thing today. Is since my company is fairly new, it doesn't have like 401k or life insurance.
Ooh, okay.
So I rolled my last 401k into a Roth IRA that I already had and set up life insurance. So that's a weird and fun conversation to have. Like, yay me, I'm a grown up. And then the other part is like, and planning for my death.
And
Yay.
might I die? But then you're like, no, I don't smoke regularly.
Right.
Check.
Right. He's like, do you have any pre-existing condition? I was like, I do not. Thank you. So yeah, we got some life insurance. So that's fairly scary. But
You didn't even ask for my social though. So how am I your secondary beneficiary?
It's true. I didn't leave you all of my. What do I own? I own my car.
All of your hoodies.
Do you like my car? All of my hoodies. You get my hoodies. I bequeath to you my hoodies.
A, they wouldn't fit me. B, what other swag do you have?
All the swag I have is what you have, I'm sure.
Stickers.
Swag you have, swag I have. Hashtag swag I have. Just made a song of it.
So, my adulting financially recently has been Credit Karma. Have you attempted this adventure?
Yes, I just did. I was scared.
Well, I feel like my only challenge is I have not like proactively started doing as much as I should with it to my husband's discontent in terms of how that might relate to a mortgage we could get. But I also feel like it's sponsored by credit card company people, maybe, sort of. So then it feels sort of like, here's the details about your credit, but if you want a credit card, or like, that just seems like the only answer that they have for like getting a better credit score, quote unquote.
Stupid. We just talked to a lender to get pre-approved, and she literally said, "Don't close any cards." And I was like, "Oh, I mean, she had said that in 12 hours earlier. I told Josh, I was like, I just paid this stupid annual fee on a card I don't use. I should close it." Mm-hmm. And she was like, "No, because it has your credit history." And I was like, it is what it is, but it's dumb. Why would you ask me to keep open lines of credit because it made my credit better? It's so dumb.
Well, and that it's like, I don't want to open a new card because then doesn't that seem like but that would expand my amount of open credit I have, which would then reduce the percentage of debt that I have. I don't know. It just makes me.
It is.
It's painful.
It's insane. She ran our credit today. I did a damage, like super young, got credit cards. And then went through a period of, I don't open mail. So if the bills don't exist, if I don't see them, I was younger. So it's better now. I mean, marriage has been really good for my credit. Thanks, Josh. So when she ran it, I kind of held my breath, and it's actually, we're both doing pretty well, but it's because it's been a while. Like things have evened out, and we haven't been crazy spenders.
I was the higher of the two of us when we got married. So that was like, he's marrying into my credit score, but then it hasn't. But I think his is better than mine now. So that's, I guess, a good competition to have. My credit score is better than your credit score.
Well, we're on speakerphone. And we don't have a ton of debt, but we have the one credit card that I use a lot. I use it a lot of almost like a checking account sometimes because I get points for Amazon. And sometimes I just use it if it's necessary. So when she was like, here's the balance on this and this, I was like giving him the side eye, like, does he know that? Is he fully aware for this amount? I think he was. Either that or he has a good poker face.
That could be true, too. So how was your Thanksgiving, Melinda?
It was good.
Good. Further evidence that I'm really awesome at segues.
Yeah. But it should be a pregnant pause first. How was your Thanksgiving? If I'm being totally honest, and that's just, I guess, what we do here, and why not?
Dish.
we went to my mom's in Arizona. Terrible drive, 8+ hours to go 360 miles because I didn't realize that other Californians would have the same idea. Ugh. So we get there.
More
It's
traffic
late.
woes.
Yeah. My stepsister and her boyfriend, who is amazing, are only really in town for that one night because they came out earlier and were leaving Saturday evening. Or I'm sorry, Friday evening. So we get up and we're all so excited to hang out that Josh goes to the store and gets like 6 bottles of champagne so we can have mimosas and breakfast. And we were drinking mimosas, mostly just the champagne, and then sitting outside. And then I had to like lay down for 4 hours. So there's like a chunk in the middle that just is kind of sucktastic because I was like, Mom, I think she ended up taking a nap. And then we got up and got ready to go to dinner. I mean, it's a little fuzzy there in the middle. So it was awesome, but you just never go into Thanksgiving like, what did you going to do for Thanksgiving? I'm going to cook a turkey and get blackout drunk before 11 a.m. So that was kind of annoying. With my mom and my husband and my stepsister. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that needed to lay down, and it was fine. I got up, went to dinner, and we decided not to cook. We went to a really nice steakhouse for dinner, but it was like, come on, such a rookie move. Like, better. Eat something for God's sake. I have a bottle of champagne before breakfast.
Champagne is delicious. Sometimes it just, the bottle gets empty. I don't know what happened.
We were all having such a good time. And dinner was great too. We laughed and had steak and carried on and gave the kiddo far too much ice cream. So it was awesome. How was yours?
Speaking of pregnant pauses, my pregnant sister-in-law was here, so that was fun.
Oh, fun.
My mother-in-law as well. And we discovered that the way to keep my dog calm is to have an 8-year-old in the house because she would chase him. She would laugh if he licked her instead of getting annoyed. She would run laps around the backyard so he would chase her. It was lovely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool side benefit. It would be nicer, and this is kind of what I thought of when we were talking about credit. That's kind of what I thought of because eventually we'd like a mortgage, right? So that's what trying to get the credit
Not a
better.
home. You just want a mortgage?
Yes, I just want to make payments to someone for nothing.
We just want a mortgage. I mean, like, whatever comes with it is going to be so awesome.
What a side benefit. So that hopefully you have a little more room for a little more separation of space because right now we don't have 2 guest rooms. It's just so bougie, I know, to have 2 guest rooms. But my mother-in-law's on the couch. So then when she's ready to go to bed, my husband can't watch TV anymore because I don't want to have a TV in the bedroom, but then it's in the guest room where other people are. So both TVs are where people are sleeping. And then, just those kinds of things where those logistics, I think, can be frustrating. But in general, actual Thanksgiving Day was great, mainly because we've slowly converted our friends to appreciate the Dominican Thanksgiving foods. And by that, I mean Dominican and Puerto Rican, which is what my husband is. So my mother-in-law made a delicious pork shoulder.
Oh,
and all of our friends now want that. And they also make a great beet potato salad. And I don't like beets, but it's delicious. And so that was what we contributed. And I didn't have to make it. So I brought tablecloths and a pie slicer and some extra chairs. And it was great. We had a cornhole tournament that I did not win. But yeah, it was fun. And my friend has a lovely new house. So she had her family in and it was good for family time. And yeah, it was nice. Nice to have a few days off. I did some crafting with my niece, which was fun. Things I hypothetically mean to do and then don't always do. So that was good. So
you just said that you are anti-TV in the bedroom. Is that your stance on that? The bedroom is for sleeping and for non-sleeping. You know what I mean? But I mean, you don't want the TV in there.
Yes. I also just don't have a third TV, which is not an excuse to get a third TV. In general, it's not my favorite.
My husband feels the same way.
Some people, my dad falls asleep to the TV, which is funny because you literally can't delete anything from his DVR because just because the show is completed doesn't mean he's actually watched it. because he falls asleep in the middle of anything. So
But Josh feels the same way. Like he doesn't want a TV in the bedroom. It should be like a relaxing, connecting space. I, on the other hand, would have a TV everywhere. He jokes that I would have it in like the drawers in the kitchen so I didn't miss anything. But I've always been a TV person.
That is an
so
interesting
I'm like,
thing
put them everywhere.
About my family. So, okay. So the other day, we were before family arrives, we were sitting, and I was like, I'm going to take 10 minutes and read a book. Okay, really, 30 minutes, and read a book, and then I'm going to go do something. And we're sitting there in the living room, and he is watching stuff on Facebook or Instagram or whatever that's making noise. It drives me nuts because I wanted to sit here in the silence. So I went and moved myself. So family arrives. We've got 3 guests. The TV is on in Spanish, which for me is not soothing because my brain is trying to, translate. Plus, everyone's got their device. So they're all, and then someone watches a video, right? That's making noise. Someone's talking, and my husband falls asleep. Because to him, that's normal.
Yeah, the chaos is soothing.
They have the TV on all the time. And so it's just interesting, like the not watching of it, but having it on and how that is pervasive. Because I don't really do that. It's not my default kind of. I watch TV, but
like I think we've talked about this in previous episodes. My weird hotel thing is I turn the TV on when I get there and I hang the do not disturb. I never want maid service and I have the TV on until I fall asleep and then I turn it on. It's like a presence, or maybe it's from years of living alone. It feels like, I don't know, like it's my friend.
I'm not alone.
It's background noise, in the fall. Even though I may not watch football, it's something I'll have on in the background. And even when I was single, now there's someone in the house that's avidly watching it, of course. But yeah, it's
Saturday or Sunday?
All days, all of the days.
Oh yeah,
Thursday,
college and NFL.
Yep, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
That's it.
I'm sure we got something else in there, right?
No, that's it for football. Yeah, we don't at least do Saturday, so I only get 3 out of 4 of those. Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean he's not like crazy in the sense that don't touch it unless the Broncos are on, and then it's like everyone be quiet. But I mean if we're not watching something else, he wants it on.
I like it,
which is fine. Whatever, I'll go do nothing.
I'll do my thing. What's your thing right now? What's your super favorite thing?
So when we were talking about adulting and life insurance and getting our finances together, I use these apps that are kind of old. And in the last updates, it was saying that they weren't properly updating because of the iOS or they weren't catching up or whatever the little warning was. So I'm like, all right, let's upgrade my apps. Because I think I told you before, I use the check register app and one that tracks bills and all that. So I did a little research and I have tried it 2 or 3 times actually since its inception, but I've gone back again to Mint, the Mint app, because it also has Mint bills now. So the Mint app just kind of tracks your tracking, which is nice. It's not totally what I need. Like I need a check register and I need something with my bills. But Mint bills, not only can you have it add all your bills so you know what's going on with the month and what's coming up, is on certain ones you can link it. So it will go and I use my credentials and it will tell me like my current Verizon bill and when it's coming and giving information. And I could pay from the app if I wanted to. So like my DirecTV is linked, my Verizon is linked. And then I found another one that I can't give you a review on yet. I just downloaded it for a new check register. But that's literally math. I just need something with like a glorified calculator. So,
well, and even earlier, so the combination of Mint and YNAB I think is interesting because I was saying the reason I like YNAB a little bit differently, Mint is looking at after you spent the money, where did the money go? Versus YNAB is more that plus allocating the money into hypothetical envelopes or buckets to then know what you have to spend. So I'm looking at like my YNAB balance as opposed to my checking account balance.
Well, and that's why I need 3. So I've got the bills and then I've got the check register because I float things. Mm-hmm. I'll hold stuff in the middle of the month to cover like towards, because we have like the hefty preschool payment and rent. So I hold from the middle so I don't think I'm rich.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll deduct it even though it's not really deducted in my checking account.
Mm-hmm.
Or I will hold $600 for, grocery for 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something like that. So no, yes, 2. Anyways, so I haven't found one that does everything, and maybe
we should build it in Salesforce.
Yeah, but if we were talking earlier, I don't have the bandwidth to build an app.
Touche. Right. Just say no. That's right.
So between the little check register one I just got and the wine app, I need to see which is best for that. But yeah, since we're talking about buying a home, I was like, maybe I should do that. And I know this is 3, but we'll just call them my super favorite, my new apps, is I signed up for Acorn.
Okay.
So that is the one that rounds up on your purchases and invests it in in mutual funds and EFT stocks. And so I'm just getting started with them. I just sent them some questions. So I'm interested to see how that works, because I try and pretend like I know what I'm doing when I invest monies in my IRA and all that stuff. And I just don't, but I know enough to be dangerous. Okay. So that is my new thing. I'm trying to adult hardcore.
Interesting. Maybe we should have interesting financial discussions someday. Because I
got to tell you, one thing that I think is so cool, and I wish I could figure out a way to matrix it into my brain, is investing. Like someone that can look at the stock market or understand it. Even listening to the hold music when I call Charles Schwab, I'm like, dude, because he'll be like, the stocks today is traded at, and I'm like, that's so cool to me. So cool.
That is so not how my brain works.
Oh, I love it. You have to dedicate for real time and research, and I haven't done it.
The for real time and research that I invested over Thanksgiving that I may have mentioned, that's my super favorite thing, is crafting. So for some reason, Christmas crafting is special. This is also an interesting, we were talking earlier about how you see someone that has one thing together and you think that they have everything together.
Right.
So I made a wreath for my door out of Christmas balls.
They look beautiful.
Ones. Why, thank you. Right? So, posted the Facebook photo. Yay, everyone thinks I'm Martha Stewart. I wish I could be as crafty as you. But then the imposter half comes, and I love it. So it's my super favorite. However, the imposter half comes to me that I literally bought those ornaments to make that wreath 2 years ago at an after Christmas sale. I have moved them only once. And just now made the wreath. So on one hand, yup, I did great. On the other hand, there's no chance of my making one for anyone else within 2 years.
Yeah, no.
But then on the other hand, too, how many hands do we have? But it's literally gluing balls to a piece of foam. It's not magical science.
Yeah, but being creative and being inspired, it's how I feel about painting or taking pictures. You can't just wake up and be like, okay, today I'm going to allocate 1 hour to paint. You could, I guess. I mean, people that write something every day, if it's a paragraph or a page. So maybe you could, but I feel like if I'm not in the mood to be creative, it ain't happening at all. I don't want to do it. I won't be happy with the product. I'm not interested.
Yeah, but it's fun, and I do like that. So
it's fun. Crafting is so fun.
How do I make more time for that?
Can you have a space?
Not yet. But that's a good goal.
You need the home. See?
Full circle. All comes together. So I got to be an adult.
Podcasters ever.
Got to be an adult. Make the money. Save the money. Get the mortgage. Have a room for crafting that people can sleep in on Thanksgiving.
You can podcast in.
And you can, a little podcast room. That'd be fun. Probably not, though. Well, it's lovely to see your face.
See your face.
I'm thankful for you.
We can see our face.
That's true.
I'm thankful for you, my partner in crime.
I love it. Thank you for everyone who listens to us and loves us. I feel like we're 6 episodes in now, so now is when we have to start the annoying request of, if you like this podcast, please go to iTunes and give us a review and rating so other people can more easily find or share, tell a friend, etc. Clearly, I'll have to perfect that message, but
I don't know. That was pretty good.
oh, okay,
Off the
good.
cuff. That was pretty good. I like it.
Check it out. So, we love you. If you love us, let us
Mwah.
know. And stay witty.